Hey, Gutfoxx here. So this might be the biggest, best video that you guys can watch all year in MLB Show swing timing. There's a big debate out there. As you see behind me, there was a great Reddit post by Get Tilted. I went and did my own experimentation. If you guys recall, 3-4 years ago, I don't recall which, I did tests, and there's a reason people didn't really like Frank Thomas's swing, myself included. I went and looked, and it looked like at that time Frank Thomas was a little bit slower pulling around on the balls than other players at the position. But after that video, the next year SDS came out and said they've equalized all swings, so it's all the same timing path, and that's what we want to test. This person on the subreddit went the same thing and went and tested it, and we'll get to their results, but I'm going to show kind of SDS's saying off first before we get more into the video. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So here is Frank Thomas, right? He did Steve Finley and Jeff Bagwell. I'm going to do Frank Thomas, who I believe has got a little bit of a slower swing. And then Mike Trout, who's got a super quick one. Everybody loves Mike Trout. So there's a little bit of the same thing going on. But let's go ahead, and what we're going to do is, these are both perfects by Frank Thomas and Mike Trout on inside fastballs. And we're going to time out the number of frames it takes to get around on it once the ball is thrown. All right, so you can tell. All right, do you see this frame right here? Right here. This is the frame that I've pressed the button, and it's into the game right here. And so let's go 1, so we're going to count them out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Balls hit between 7 and 8. We'll just say 8, okay? So 8 frames on an inside fastball for Frank Thomas to hit a perfect, all right, down the line. And now Mike Trout, same thing. Let's get into frames with him. You can see I hit the button right here. Right here is where the buttons hit. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Balls hit between 7 and 8, okay? So SDS is right. The swing timing's the same, but why does everybody love Mike Trout over Frank Thomas? What's going on with that? Let's go ahead and look at them side by side from the pitcher's windup. Now, we'll go all the way back here. All right, so you can see this is basically timed up frame by frame. Do you see how the ball, no ball, ball, no ball, ball. Now, I realize one of the limitations is it's only 60 frames per second and not 1,000. I do believe this game only runs on 60 frames per second. People can tell me I'm wrong, but I do believe it's only 60 to my knowledge. That's what I recorded it in. All right, anyways, no ball, ball. So we're all matched up here. Balls coming in. This is the same one again. All right, same. See how same frame again, where I press the button on both these guys. Frank kind of coming set, and then you can see the big jerk motion. So it's the same frame. I'm hitting the ball at the same frame with both of them. So we're both able to turn and hit perfects on the same frame. Weird, right? You're like, well, why does Frank suck then? Okay, now let's go back to his results, and I'll show you, we'll come back to mine here in a second. Because basically what he did was set up a bot, and basically that bot was able to do the same microsecond over and over with these two guys. One saying, that one that the community loves, Finley, the other one that they don't love, Bagwell. So what ends up happening is this bot on inside pitches, and we're looking at inside pitches because the meta in the game is throw hard inside, sinkers inside, that kind of stuff. Inside pitches first, all right? Finley, out of all the pitches, Finley and Bagwell were late, 25, 27% of the time. Now remember, these are all standardized, exact same button press input, okay? So they both, we'll say that was in the margin of error, okay? Now, Finley, on those same button presses, same timing, same everything, was giving 34 good, right? Good timing is what we're looking for in this game. And Bagwell was only given 23, right? About 10 or 11 difference between the good inside, which is huge, right? That's baseball. Those numbers turn a bad hitter into a good one, or a good hitter into bad, whatever you say. That's ginormous. And then so Bagwell was forced early on inside pitches 52% of the time. So it's kind of interesting right there. All right. Now, same thing, but down the middle. Down the middle of the plate, fastballs, same thing. Finley was giving 50 goods with the exact same timing, and Bagwell was only giving 31, whereas he was early on 66 and Finley was not. Now, outside ones, Bagwell was given good outside more than Finley, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So basically, Bagwell looks to have better outside. Finley seems to be better inside and over the middle of the plate. Every hitter's got their strengths and weakness. Let's get back to that. All right. So let's go ahead and get back to my testing and show you on the field what I found with my different hitters, right? Bring it up right here. Okay, so let's do the same thing. All right, so the different at bat with them with a little different timing. So basically, I want to show you kind of matched up. You see, no ball. Oh, sorry. Let me do this better. You see how we got that no ball, ball, no ball, ball. Basically the same frame again. Okay, so there we are. Let's go ahead and go fast forward it. Here we go. Now, all right, same thing. Same frame again. Okay, same frame again. But this time, you see how they're both not perfect. Trout is actually the same frame. Now, like I said, the 60 frames per second might be an issue here. But Trout's ahead of the ball and Frank's behind it. Okay? So basically what I'm seeing a little bit, and it feels like based off his data, what I'm seeing on the field, we can rewind that again. On inside pitches, the game is giving you Trout getting around it. Like, look at Frank's bat. Do you see how Frank's bat head is actually in front? And I realize the ball is above. But like ball location and timing isn't really the same thing. But like, do you see how Frank's bat head is like in front of the plate? It's actually here. Let me get out of the way here. Do you see the shadow? Do you see how his bat is actually? Well, I guess it's kind of the shadows are really weird. They're kind of betraying us here. But like, do you see how his bat's ahead? Trout's actually at the plate level. And that's a little bit to do with where the ball location is. I understand that. But like, based off that, I feel like Frank should get around on it because his bat head's ahead of the ball. Same timing and everything. And Trout pulls it, Frank hits it up the middle, showing just late versus Trout being good slightly ahead of it. So basically what we're seeing based off what you're seeing on your screen right now and based off the machine testing that this guy did with his Raspberry Pi inputs, the game is deciding, based off, we'll talk about why, at least our highest suspicion why, it's deciding for you the results different than your inputs because your inputs are very similar. Now, let's talk about why, okay? So that's the biggest thing is it's sometimes the game just gives you bad timing, and that's life, right? Because like, look, if you look at let's go back to the desktop here. Because if you look at like where the ball is, like that's center circled, right? And that one's a little bit lower in the circle for Trout, but PCI differences, maybe this one's a little bit more towards the middle. I don't know. But anyways, we'll go ahead and go back to this. And yeah, some evidence that swings do change timings. That is what he said. But swing timings are the same for what we're saying. The reason why I believe there's a difference, let's go ahead and fast forward here. Do you see how Mike Trout, if you look at the hitter tendency, SDS has talked about, I can bring my camera back if you want. SDS has talked about how there's a wider and smaller gap, like depending on what your hitter tendency is, whether you're like, inside or outside. So it's something they confirmed, but I just want to show you, like, SDS ain't lying. Like, extreme pull or pull hitters, because the meta is so much, jam people inside and maybe throw soft stuff away, you really need to be able to get around it on inside stuff. So if you have like a card like Frank Thomas, who's a whole field hitter, he is going to hit balls inside to the whole field. He's going to spray a little bit. So you'd be like just late. And we know based off our results, like you guys should know this if you played the MLB, being just late timing is a death sentence. You're not going to get power. You're going to fly out. You might get some like, cheap hits, the opposite way. But that's the whole point I'm trying to make here, is the fact that because the meta tells everybody to throw it inside, the guys with the pull or extreme pull generally are the most liked cards. Now, obviously, there's cards, I think, like Mondesi is, I don't know if he's like, there's other cards. I think Chipper Jones is a whole field card, but he's a switch hitter, and that's why people like Chipper Jones. So you're not necessarily doomed as a whole field. Like Frank Thomas still, because of his attributes being so sky high, is still going to hit you a lot of dingers in Diamond Dynasty if you end up getting Frank, okay? So, like, obviously, attributes matter for the ball and contact and stuff like that, too. I'm just saying there's a lot going into it, but extreme pull hitters, like, they don't show it in Diamond Dynasty, unfortunately. I hope they get in the card going forward, but it is something you want to focus on looking at those guys because that's just how the game's played. We want to be a little early on timing. We want to be able to get around those early pitches to really turn them into home runs instead of flares into the outfield that are pretty easily caught. that's it for the video. Let me know what you guys think. Overall, I mean, it lines up with almost everybody's experience, but let me know if it doesn't with yours. If whole field hitters are better for you than, like, you know, Mike Trout and more pool type hitters. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Really helps with the channel. Appreciate it, guys. See ya tomorrow.